What's up, everybody? We are here. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everybody. We're here for another edition of what we are calling Deciphered, my spoken word series. If you're new to Deciphered, this is what we do every week. We share some poetry from my book, from the Limbs of My Poetry, and some other things that I've written as well along the way. And then we break them down. That's why we call it Deciphered, because we have a little bit of the breakdown in there as well. So I appreciate you all joining today. And, we're going to get to it for sure. I hope that everybody's having a good day. As some of y'all I see are starting to join in and hit us up. Again, we're on Facebook. You can always join us there. Facebook.com/Omékongo. Also appreciate you all joining on Instagram. Wanted to see you've checked in. Appreciate it. Dr. Kakanga, appreciate you joining in as well. And, we always do these videos every Friday at 11 o'clock. We hope that you can continue to join us. We appreciate that. If you're there on Facebook as well, hit me up. Let me know you're there so I can shout you out as well. I always love the opportunity to do that as we jump into this poetry. As I have been saying, much of the poem. Hey, Ali, I see that you're there as well. A lot of the poetry that we're doing can be found from the Limbs of My Poetry. Also on iTunes, you can see on different places and platforms there. Several of my CDs, Signs of the Time. You can see that there as well. So lots of opportunities to get out there and get get these poems. You can get them in written form, you can get them in audio form, and even if you go to my website, you may see a few music videos there as well. So join in whatever you can, and we'd appreciate that. Happy Friday to you as well. And so, look, before we get started with the poetry today, it's complicated because I'm saying rest in peace and happy birthday to Ahmaud Arbery right now, and this is a man who should be celebrating his 26th birthday today, and he is not here because he was hunted down and slain. And it's very important that I pay that respect to him and his family. And, when we see so many cases like this, I hear people say, watch the video. I don't bring myself to watch the videos anymore, particularly during this time, during quarantine and all these other things going on. There are so many other issues out there that can add to our stress, and that's not something I choose to do. And then I listened to the interview with his mother, and she's like, I watched him be born. I can't watch him, die as well. And, I never even thought about it from that perspective. And so, he should be here today, and, we're going to continue to do the work to make sure he and his family gets justice. I wear this shirt, which says UPstander, not just because I think it's cool, not just because I think it's cute, but because, my life is being an activist. I was born and raised an activist, and I'm going to continue to be an activist forever. And so this isn't just like a fun thing for us. We are out here doing this work because, this social justice thing is a real mission for us. And so I wanted to dedicate that to him before we got started with our poetry for today. All right. So again, I appreciate you all, and I'm going to start off with a poem that is for Mother's Day, because Mother's Day is coming up, and so I want to share this poem with you all, and it's called Appreciation, and it goes a little something like this. I love you because you love me. You helped me find myself, helped me realize who I am. You did everything in your power to make me be a real man. Once I realized you were mine and I was yours, I realized our love combined can knock down any doors. You were there for me when no one else would be, and you have been for me when no one else could be. When the chips were down, you picked me up and sacrificed that I will never give up. Now, many of y'all may think I'm speaking of a girlfriend, a wife, or another lover. I'm telling you now to save the drama, because I ain't talking about no one else but my mama. You see, mama, you saved me in this world of the unsaved. You taught me how to be proud and when to have shame. The love that comes from you emanates like sunlight. And since I've been loving you for 43 years, it's so much easier to love the other queen in my life. You see, I can love my woman because she's a reflection of you. So I know that if I call her out of her name, I'm calling you out of your name too. You taught me to be proud of my blackness and my masculinity. But you also said that since every man has an ounce of femininity, my black womanhood should come from the blood of Nefertiti. So for putting me on this earth and making me feel worth, I owe you all that I have to give. And I will continue giving back to you. I said I will continue giving back to you as long as I live. That poem is called Appreciation, and I've shared this poem with you all before, and so I'm not going to break it down now. I have other poems that I'm going to break down for you, but I wanted to share that out there as a tribute to all the moms out there. I started this as a tribute to my mom, but I wanted to shout out all of the moms out there as well with this poem. Thank you, Shalma and Charlie, for joining as well, and thanks to those who have been joining us on Facebook as well. I definitely appreciate it. So, there's a lot going on, when I see what's going on in this world right now. There's so many issues and so many challenges that I had the poems that I wanted to do today, but sometimes society just kind of gets you. It just kind of gets you, and you just kind of lose focus a little bit. But we do events like this so that we can refocus and get our mind right, and so that's what I'm going to do right now. All right, so we're good. And again, if you always have any questions or comments, you could also drop them in there down in the comment box as well. I always appreciate that. I'm gonna do a rhyme for y'all. Check this out. Get my water. Check it. When I was young, they used to call me a monster, African, bushman, monkey. I was bothered. Used to pick on my clothes. I didn't have Nikes. I didn't have nice bikes, other fancy things. I didn't have much loot, no savings, no trust fund. So walking out my house every day was not fun. Had no heat in the winter, no AC in the hot sun. Next to my bed was rats. Leftovers, they got some. Used to wonder why me was seeing on TV dudes with Beamers, Jaguars, of course Mercedes. Being broke as a kid used to drive me crazy. Hearing the guns at night, I couldn't sleep like a baby, but now I'll make it plain. I'm writing this on a plane on my way to California for a show. What changed? Well, I stopped making excuses for myself, took blame. You take control of your life, you can do the same. Don't matter, you've been abused, grew up with no parents, you dealt with booze, dealt with drugs, wheelchair ramped it. Maybe you grew up poor in a house, not a home. Maybe mom's was an addict, papa rolling stone. What you gotta see is life is just testing you out to see if you'll take your life, take the easy route, to see if you'll throw the towel and surrender your soul to a life of crime and life that lost life out of control. But if you take a step back, think twice, get some goals. If you focus on your dreams, not your nightmares, you'll see your life get better with your new mindset. Get new experiences that you won't regret. I took control of my life. Now I travel the globe. I met Clinton, Obama, Maya Angelou. I might be the next man on the cover of O. You take control of your destiny, you never know. I've been on BET, BBC, CNN. I've been to 25 countries, spoke with 4 millions. Now they don't call me a monster lest I'm beasting the flow. They don't call me nothing but the goat at a show. So what can you do if you focus on great? More than me, probably, if you concentrate. Get the haters out your life. Stop lifting dead weight. And listen to no one who ever said wait. You take control of your dreams and develop yourself. If you eat the right foods and develop your health, you'll live the life of your dreams. Trust me, you'll see, because you have nothing but greatness in your destiny. That's a piece I do called Grow Towards Your Greatness. It's something that I took from my book, Grow Towards Your Greatness, and turned it into a rap. I see Professor Velasquez in the building. Appreciate you joining. Charlie, appreciate you joining as well. And so let's break that down. When I was young, they used to call me a monster, African, bushman, monkey. I was bothered. That is talking about my experiences growing up in Boston, Massachusetts. And for those of y'all, somebody got my fam on, Shalom Mwadi, Musa, y'all know the deal. They used to call us all types of names because they would see things on TV shows like Tarzan and the like, so they would pick on us, and anything they could do to liken us to animals, they would do that. African, bushman, monkey, I was bothered. Used to pick on my clothes. I didn't have Nikes. I didn't have nice bikes, other fancy things. That just speaks to us. We didn't have a lot growing up, and it's not something that we're ashamed of. It was our experiences, and those experiences, they can either destroy you or they can make you stronger, and they made us stronger. Not being able to grow up with a trust fund, not being able to grow up with, silver spoon in our mouth. And also during that period of time, growing up during the height of the crack epidemic, where it was predicted that if you were black or brown, you were going to be killed or incarcerated before you reached the age of 25. So when I say that I didn't have nice bikes, other fancy things, I didn't have much loot, no savings, no trust fund. So walking out my house every day was not fun. I'm talking about going out and possibly being killed and succumbing to what was going on, the violence and the gang life that was taking place during the crack epidemic. Had no heat in the winter, no AC in the hot sun. Next to my bed was rats, leftovers, they got some. And during the coldest of the winters in the Northeast winter, there were times where we didn't have heat. And we had to huddle around, ovens to keep ourselves warm. They were real challenges, but they made us stronger. And walking out my house every day, you had to either succumb to that outside with the crime and the violence, and then sometimes you had to deal with your own financial challenges in the house, and that's just real talk. Next, I used to wonder why me, while seeing on TV, dudes with Beamers, Jaguars, of course Mercedes. I'm talking about for those who don't grow up with a lot and the challenges that we deal with, seeing other people having everything because people put up these beautiful images on television. And yes, before Instagram and before all of this other stuff, there were shows like Lifestyles That Are Rich and Famous, and there was always an opportunity to see more of what you didn't have. And so I'm speaking to that. And some people say that, my man Malik told me that, during the Great Depression, people are actually more depressed than they are now because back then they were poor on their own. They didn't get to see how everybody else was living who was living that high life. But now we curate everything online so people can see the things that they don't have. And, that's just very problematic for me on many levels. In the hot sun, no heat in the winter, next to my bed was lats. I used to wonder why me, while seeing on TV, dudes with Beamers, Jaguars, of course, Mercedes. Being broke as a kid used to drive me crazy. Hearing the guns at night, I couldn't sleep like a baby. But now I flipped the poem up a little bit to kind of talk about how we get into some more positive things. But now I make it plain. I'm writing this on a plane on my way to California for a show. What changed? So I'm actually was writing this poem while I was flying to California to do a show. So I'm talking about, when I say what changed, well, I stopped making excuses for myself, took blame. You take control of your life and you can do the same. I'm talking about it doesn't matter what happens around you, what happens to you, or what happens inside you is what matters the most. And so are you going to succumb to the circumstances? Are you going to define your circumstances or let your circumstances define you? I decided to define my own circumstances. On my way to California for a show, what changed? Well, I stopped making excuses for myself, took blame. Take control of your life. You can do the same. Don't matter you've been abused, grew up with no parents, you dealt with booze, dealt with drugs, wheelchair ramped it. So for me, when I share those lines, I'm speaking about experiences that I did not have, but I know other people had. And my point in sharing that is that maybe if you were given the challenges that I was given, maybe you wouldn't be able to handle them. But maybe conversely, if I was given the challenges that all of you all have faced throughout your lives, maybe I wouldn't be able to handle them. And what I mean by that is that sometimes you have to understand that you've been picked out to be picked on. And I believe that you individually are not given anything that you cannot handle. I believe that 100%. And so for me, I talk about in that line, maybe you grew up poor in the house, not a home. Maybe mom was an addict. Maybe your mother was a drug addict. Maybe some of us had to deal with that. Maybe pops was a Rolling Stone. What you got to see is life is just testing you out. It's just a test, you all. And as I said multiple times, the difference between school and life, in school you get the lesson and then you get the test. In life you get the test and then you get the lesson. I say, you dealt with booze, dealt with drugs, wheelchair ramped it. Maybe you've dealt with a physical challenge in your life. Maybe a mental challenge in your life. Life is just testing you out to see if you'll take your life, take the easy route. And I'm not saying that, and I am somebody who has been suicidal, as many of us know, who follow my story. Hey, D-Pain, I see you, know that. But what I'm saying is that whenever we want to quit, we need to just give ourselves more time. And we know that there's a lot of thought that goes into a lot of things, but I'm just saying we have to make sure that we're not quitting, that we're not surrendering. To see if you'll throw the towel and surrender your soul to a life of crime, a life of lost, life out of control. But if you take a step back, think twice, get some goals. If you focus on your dreams and not your nightmares, yo. And what I mean by that is William Ward said that we can come up with 1,000 reasons why we can't do something when all we need is one reason why we can. And so rather than focus on the nightmares, focus on that one dream. Don't focus on the fact that you've lost your job. Focus on the fact that you have more time for your family. Don't focus on the fact that you might get evicted. Focus on the fact that you have your health. Whatever it is, pick that one thing and focus on that. And then that one thing becomes two things. And that 1,000 becomes 998 reasons you can't do something. Just you got to start to switch that focus. And that's where the greatness starts to come out. If you take a step back, think twice, get some goals, you see your life get better with your new mindset, get new experiences that you won't regret. So then I start talking about my own experiences as proof that I've actually lived this. I took control of my life. Now I travel the globe. I met Clinton, Obama, Maya Angelou. These are all people that I've met. Maya Angelou, a hero for me. Some of y'all who follow me as a rapper know that my hip-hop name is Young Maya, Mighty African Youth Advocate, because I've so much respect and reverence for her. She's one of the people I credit, outside of my family, with saving my life when I was going through some really tough times. I had a chance to meet her and listen to her. I met other people, Obama, Bill Clinton, various presidents of different countries. You might see me I might be the next man on the cover of O. Now, when I first wrote that, I said I might be the first man on the cover of O, but then Dr. Oz took that slot. Yeah. So I said I might be the next man on the cover of O. You take control of your destiny. You never know. I've been on BET, BBC, CNN. I've been to 25 countries, spoke before millions. These are things that I've actually done. These are TV shows that I've actually been on. Going from those circumstances that I described in the beginning to doing the things that I am right now. Now, they don't call me a monster lest I'm beasting the flow. They don't call me nothing but the goat at a show. So that's a play on words, because when people talk about, a monster, you get up there and you beast it, right? So I'm going back to what I said in the beginning. They used to call me African Bushman Monkey. I was bothered. They used to call me a monster. So I'm flipping that now. I'm letting all the world know that I flipped the script on them. And then I also say they don't call me nothing but the goat at a show. So GOAT is obviously an animal, but we also know that GOAT stands for greatest of all time. Now, I'm not saying I'm greatest of all time. I'm just saying what other people have said, because they say that at the show. Yeah. So what can you do if you focus on great? More than me, probably, if you concentrate. Get the haters out your life. Stop lifting dead weight. And listen to no one who ever said wait. This is my call to action to you all, to get it together, to get out there. Don't wait for anybody to tell you that you got to do something. You get out there and do it yourself. If you focus on your dreams and develop yourself, if you eat the right foods and develop your health, you'll live the life of your dreams. Trust me, you'll see, because you have nothing but greatness in your destiny. That's what I believe. I believe that we are all born with greatness, but we're not destined for greatness. We got to do the work out to get out there every single day to bring it out for the world to see. If you don't do it, you shouldn't expect anybody to do it for you. So that's my second poem today. I'm going to drop another one because, again, appreciation, the first one was a tribute to Mother's Day, but I'm going to share one more piece. If you've got any questions or comments, you can always hit me up and let me know what your thoughts are about them. That's always appreciated as I prepare to do this last piece for you. And again, this is Deciphered. We are on episode 6. We are doing this every single day. This next piece is a short poem. And like I said, everything that I write, everything that I do, everything that I share is a call to action. And this next poem is called An Orphan's Cry. An Orphan's Cry. This is an orphan's cry, mbuji-mayi. It's the cry of a child shedding tears over a massacred parent. It's the cry of a child watching her mother being gang raped and slaughtered while she waits for her turn in horror. This is an orphan's cry. It's the cry of a child wondering where he will get his next meal today because there's no parent to say it's okay. It's the cry of the grass being trampled by 2 battling elephants. It's the cry of a child seeing his father assassinated and exacerbated by the fact that his older brother will soon follow. It's the cry of a child who can't put his hope in the future because he cannot envision a tomorrow without sorrow. This is an orphan's cry. It's the cry of a child knowing he is condemned to death, yet is still asking, why? It's the cry of a child watching bullets and not birds fly over his sky. It's the cry of a child seeing her parents slaughtered in mbuji-mayi. It's the cry of a child knowing it will soon be his turn to die. Now, my mother asked who, mbuji-mayi is a place in Congo. My mother is from, and, is part of her upbringing and background. And she asked me to write this poem to speak to the challenges that many people across the world, but particularly in Congo, are facing as it relates to being orphaned due to war. And so when I talk about the cry of a child shedding tears over a massacred parent, the child of a, even with what we're going through right now, wherever you are in the world, I know many of y'all are tuning in from the United States, but some of us are tuning in from different parts of the world. Whatever we're dealing with right now, I want us to always keep our focus and our minds on people who could be dealing with something significantly worse. It doesn't mean that what you're dealing with right now is not it's not bad, and it's not a challenge. We understand that. But there are other people who need our thoughts and not just our thoughts, but our actions. It's the cry of the grass being trampled by two battling elephants. There's an African proverb that says, when two elephants fight, it's the grass that gets trampled. And that's what I'm speaking to on that. I see you, Remember. Thank you for tuning in as well. It's the cry of grass being trampled by two battling elephants. It's the cry of a child seeing a father assassinated and exacerbated by the fact that his own older brother will still follow. I've been in many countries. As I said in the first piece, I've been in almost 25 countries, and many of these countries that I've been in have been war-torn countries. And and I've been in places where entire families have been slaughtered, and I've dealt with the people who have escaped or who got away, and how they're dealing with their own trauma right now and not getting that assistance. This is an orphan's cry. It's a cry of a child knowing he is condemned to death, yet still asking why. And when I was in Congo working in refugee camps several years ago, I'll never forget the voice of this one young girl who basically said, why are we even trying to do anything? We're condemned to death. And I don't believe in that. I don't believe that anybody should be condemned to death. And when people speak up and speak out, that's how the change occurs. And that's why I believe that if we just keep them in our mind, do the action, fundraise, put pressure on governments, even now is not a time to stop forgetting these things. Now is a time to get more focused. I believe that we can make that change. It's the cry of a child seeing her parents slaughtered in mbuji-mayi. It's the cry of a child knowing it will soon be his turn to die. And also in the book, this poem is also translated into Swahili. And on the CD, the poem is also translated into Swahili. In Swahili, it's Hiki Niki Leo cha Yatima. And I just want us to always think, and right now, in this society, we are seeing kids who are being orphaned for many, many reasons. Some due to COVID, some due to a lot of other challenges that they're facing. And the point of this poem is that wherever we are, I want us to never take our eyes and our minds off the children. I want us to always be focused on what we can do to make their situation and their lives better, whether it's a war-torn situation, whether it's, violence in the streets across the United States, Ahmaud Arbery is somebody's child, right? And, what could we have done to make his society, better for him so that he could still be here today on his birthday? We always have to keep the people coming after us in mind. And so normally I do 2 poems with you all. Today I did 3. I did appreciation. I did grow towards your greatness. I told you I was going to start adding in some hip hop pieces as well. And so I wanted to do it with that as well. And then I ended with this last piece called An Orphan's Cry. If you got any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up. I love to hear what your thoughts are on them. This is what we do every Friday. And as we go week to week, I want to encourage you all every single day that you have to remember, as I said in the first poem, that, the greatness is in you. You got to bring it out. Regardless, whatever challenge you are dealing with right now, the challenge that you are dealing with is nothing but an opportunity to grow. It is nothing but an opportunity to bring out the greatness that is inside you. It is in you. But if you don't do anything with it, it is just going to lay dormant. My pieces, my poems, my work are calls to action, and I'm calling you to act on something that's going to bring out your greatness or take your greatness to a higher level, because guess what? When you do that, it allows you to also bring out greatness in other people as well. And we need all hands on deck right now. We need all the motivation on deck right now. We need everybody getting out there and doing their best and forgetting the rest. Now is not the time to shrink into mediocrity. Now is the time for all of us to grow towards our greatness. So I appreciate you all joining us for another episode of Deciphered. We do this every Friday at 11. Facebook, Instagram, tell a friend. They can holler at us. We'd appreciate it as well. Take care of yourselves. Create a strong and powerful week for yourselves. Remember, if it is meant to be, it is up to you. Every single day, you have to make that choice. And remember, choosing to do nothing is a choice as well. So choose to get out there and do something, because you have the power to do it. Your work is not done. Take care, you all. Peace out.